Guys, I am so sorry. My thing started without the volume. I apologize. Okay. As usual, we are going to start at 7:05. That way it'll give everybody a little bit of time to come back or to at least get here, excuse me. So welcome everybody. It is so great to see you all. I'm excited to talk about this because in Delphi, the defense made a great closing argument. They've been in deliberations and they haven't actually come to a decision yet, which is fantastic. We want this jury to take their time. We want them to sit back and actually look at the evidence. So, as usual, we're going to wait until 7:05 to actually start the information that I give you guys, just to make sure that everybody is here so I don't have to repeat myself sometimes. And of course, if you are watching this back on replay, just fast forward to, you know, 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the video and then you're good. Okay. So I am really excited to talk about this today. And I do apologize that I did not put up my Delphi video or my Yellow Jackets video. I say I'm going to do this, and obviously then I don't realize the hard work that it took to actually make a lot of those videos. So I apologize. I mostly have the scripts done. I have the images that are copyright free. I have the music that is copyright free. So all I have to do is film it, put it together by editing, and then upload it. So I apologize. I'm going to do that this weekend because it's the UT game this weekend. My husband loves University of Texas. We're a big UT family here. So they're going to have the game going. I'm going to be up here totally kicking ass on videos. So I have an in-depth look at the Delphi case. I'm starting the first video with just Abby and Libby. It's about them, their friendship. It's not very long, sadly, because I would have to get some in-depth, information regarding them. And unless you talk to the family or you're somebody who knew them, the last thing I really want to do is go ask them, hey, I'm doing a YouTube video. What was the person who passed away like? That's awful. So this is just stuff that I put together that I found. And of course, Cook says hello. So the first one's going to start with Abby and Libby, the timeline and how they passed away. And then the next video is going to be the police, their investigation and how everything went, suspects, who came forward, who said what. So it will be pretty in-depth. Hopefully, I've been doing a lot of working on those videos. So hopefully I will have them done before the jury deliberates because, like I said, the more time that they take, the better. So, okay, so we're just going to give it another 30 more seconds, and then we're going to start talking about the Delphi trial and how deliberations are still going on. We're going to talk about how long they've deliberated for. We're going to talk about the closing arguments. Cooks, go sit down. I know you're excited. You go lay down. Come on, go lay down. I did his favorite thing. I opened up the window for him so he could go sit down and like bark at the squirrels and the other pups. But now he doesn't want to. I'll just let him sit here. Okay, it's time. Let's start talking about the deliberations and the closing arguments. Now, first off, guys, as usual, Cooks, go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down, baby. Good boy. Go lay down. Cooks, go lay down. Come on, baby. Go lay down. Good boy. Go. Thank you. First off, guys, this live is based on my opinion, which doesn't mean 1 cent in the world. I'm not accusing one of any kind of crime or a cover-up. Watch your own videos, do your own research, and make up your own mind. And with that out of the way, I want to remind you guys that I watched as much as I could that was reported from the Richard Allen Delphi murder trial. If you don't know, cameras, audio recordings, all that stuff, even taking pictures were not allowed, only like artist renditioning. Reporters were even given very limited space. So therefore, much of the trial has been reported from journalists allowed into the courtroom. So I'll leave a link. I forgot to do it last time, but I will do it this time. I will leave a link to the videos that I've watched in the description box. WTHR is one of the news stations that I absolutely watch and keep in like every day to find out what's going on. Excuse me. They are my go-to information. So WTHR, they're a news station. It's mostly their videos that I will link, and then other videos that I found as well. So I wanted you guys to know that before we actually started this. Okay, so today, most important information, no verdict, which is great because that means there's only been 9 hours of deliberations so far. That's decent, because if they were to come back and just automatically say this guy is guilty, they would have come back already. You know how it is, guys. A lot of us are true crime people. We totally understand about things such as that. So when they come back fast, it's not really looking too good for you, unless you're OJ Simpson. So yeah, I am glad that there's still deliberations. So basically what happened was yesterday, there were closing arguments. And then after the closing arguments, hi, baby. The judge gave her instructions to the jury and then sent them off, and they deliberated for, I believe, 2 hours, and then they deliberated for like 7 hours today. So either maybe 3 before, but whatever. It all equals out to 9 hours of deliberations so far. And again, that's fantastic because we don't want them to come back that fast. This is a tough case with a very massive impact, not just on Richard Allen, his family, and the Abby and Libby, their family as well. It's the community. It's the world. Everybody has been keeping an eye on this trial. So it's insane to see that we're finally into deliberations. We're finally going to get at least an answer, because I'll put my opinion kind of near the end. But also, one thing that I did see was that a lot of people were supporting the girls in town of Delphi, and a lot of people were supporting Richard Allen. Now, I don't know if he goes by Rick, Richie, or whatever. I call him Richard because he's a human being, just like Charlie was, Charles Manson. They're all human beings, okay? And a lot of the news reportings put him just as Allen. What did Alan do? How did Alan do that? It's so formal, and I just like to use people's first names. Right, Cooks? I'm a more informal kind of chick. So I'm going to call him Richard. So let's talk about the fact that people are supporting Richard Allen. I'm happy to see that, because I'm happy to see that I'm not the only person who looked at that trial like, okay, something ain't right. And it was when they came for me to the testimony of the hairs that were found in Abby's hand, which belonged to her sister, Kelsey. And mind you guys, this wasn't just a couple of small strands. I shed Cooksy and I, we shed everywhere, don't we, baby? Yes, we do. We shed our hair everywhere. Massive shedders. However, you will never find 70 to 72 hairs ripped out of my hair, found in somebody else's hand, and say, oh, I guess I just shedded way too much. No, 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 that's just not the way it works. I don't understand how, for me, that was a big, massive piece of doubt. And I had been keeping my ear out on the Delphi trial. However, when I came up to that with Kelsey's hair being in Abby's hand, I thought, well, why didn't they ever look at that? And is there any other DNA there? And yes, there was male DNA there at the crime scene that belonged to, I believe they said Libby's family. I'm not sure. They just said family members. So I'm not 100% positive on which family members it was. But they did say that there was male DNA found on the girls that belonged to their family. So, okay. It's, again, great to see that people are actually looking at the trial thinking, oh, this doesn't really seem so right, and kind of going other places looking up for some answers. I know, I love you too. You sit down because I'm talking, okay? Let's talk about closing arguments. Let's move on to that. Closing arguments for the prosecution. And this was yesterday, guys. The prosecution, in my opinion, I don't think their closing arguments were so great. They said that Bridge Guy killed Abby and Libby and that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy. And they showed crime scene photos of the girls again, oh my God, why did they show those publicly to like everybody there when Richard Allen and his stuff, he was, just shown to the jury only. These are minor girls. And I'm not going to lie, it's like corn. So showing those pictures to everybody in the courtroom just to me didn't make sense. It just seemed like it was more of an emotional ploy rather than a moral ploy. That really bothered me that they showed the crime scene photos of the girls and Libby's undressed body. She was a 14-year-old young lady. They should not have shown her like that. They should have just shown the jury. So I had to say that because that really got me. But they did show, again, crime scene photos of the girls and Libby's undressed body. How disrespectful. Cooks, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment for Libby and Abby about how their memory was last shown to their family through those pictures. Because nobody needs to see that. Nobody. Okay. Thank you, Cooks. They continued to play the Bridge Guy video again, and then they showed the timeline according to the witness statements. And then they talked about the Bridge Guy's starter kit because Richard Allen had a blue Carhartt jacket. He had a bullet and a memory box and a 6-hour gun. Okay, then they played 2 of his confessions. And then said that their theory, oh my God, Cooksy's, I know you guys can't see it, but Cooksy's totally rolling over on his tummy. He's like, get my belly, Mom. Prosecution played 2 of his confessions, one where he talked to his wife and then one where he talked to his mom. And then prosecution basically said that this is how it went. Richard Allen basically laid in wait for somebody. And then when he saw the girls, he used his gun to lead the girls down the hill. He ended their lives and then left the bullet as a calling card. Yeah. Okay. So that's what they said. That's what the closing arguments was in the prosecution. Let me take some comments before we continue. Cooks, let me take some comments. I'll continue petting you. He's taking my baby's taking my hand. I know. I'll continue petting you. Hang on. Let me take some comments. Okay. Pagan Sky Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It says, oh, he just wants to help you. I know. He's my little co-conspirator. Blaze says, I still think he didn't do it. And if he put a lot of time if he did, he put a lot of time covering his tracks. Absolutely. Blaze, I'm surprised to see that you changed your picture. Okay, so then now let's move on to the actual defense's statements, which I thought they did a fantastic job. The defense says it basically comes down to 5 points. The timeline is broken. The ballistics were totally messed up, as well as the crime scene. There were false confessions, digital forensics, and they said that there were things that the state did not want the jury to hear. Okay, so those were those 5 things. And let me get to my other notes about those 5 things. Hang on one second. I'm sorry. Cookie is... Okay, so he basically said that they withheld evidence from the jury and that the phone calls that they used made Allen at Richard sound like more gruesome and everything, and also told the jurors that they reached false conclusions and used bad science to link Allen's guns to the cartridge, and that they reminded them that several state witnesses gave conflicting statements, such as a prison psychiatrist who flipped back and forth and asked if like Allen was psychotic at the time that he confessed to murdering Abby and Libby, and then he said he wasn't. I don't know, but and that Richard went to the police after the murders and offered information. He said he wanted to help them and make sure that he gave information. Also, the prosecution said there's no digital data, no fingerprints, no DNA, no trace material with Richard Allen's DNA. And they talked a lot about Richard's harsh treatment, like modern day torture, made him have false confessions, a psychotic breakdown. And then that's when he drove it home by saying, like, where's the moral compass? You are the jury, the moral compass, and we're asking you to like set Richard Allen free and give us a verdict of not guilty, which again, I thought that was a good little pounding because he's right. There's nothing that literally ties him there. There's things that tie other people there, but not anything that ties Richard Allen specifically. Okay. So I I also heard that before the jury left, the prosecution was able to say one more thing, like give a rebuttal. I have no idea what that was yet. That hasn't been reported, but I thought that was pretty nasty that the state got to say one more thing before they closed, before they sent the jury out for deliberations, because the prosecutor was right. The defense was right, and that's how it should have left in their minds. There's no DNA, there's no fingerprints, there's nothing to indicate that Richard Allen was there, not even cell phone data, which I don't understand. I didn't hear that being entered into evidence at any time. There was so much other stuff being entered into evidence, and so I thought that they said that his cell phone data matched, but I never heard anything about that. So there was so much I heard before regarding surrounding the case and like the so-called proof that they had. But let me tell you something, whoever the state prosecutor is or the state attorney is for that state or for that county or whichever, they should be sent out. In my opinion, that's no evidence. That's no evidence whatsoever to convict this man of this crime. Do you know how much Austin has wanted to pin the yogurt shop murders on somebody? Anybody? Hell, they even had some people in jail until it was finally showed that their DNA was not there. It really wasn't them, and they convicted the wrong people, and that's what finally got them set free. But I'm just saying, and from what I can see, the state never admits when they're wrong, even when they're shown like forensic DNA or like shown hard proof that this is not it. This is not your suspect. They don't care. They will still mold their theory to fit their narrative. And it just seems like that's what happened here, that they knew that they had a confession of this guy, Richard Allen, who had came a few days after the murder and said, hey, I was there. Let me help you. Let me give you any information that you need. Let me tell you what I saw. Let me tell you what I did. And then all of a sudden, this whole bullet thing comes out and the alleged bullet is in his house, but there's no DNA of the girls anywhere, even in his car. And I'm sorry, but even 5 years later, unless he's just a mastermind, there's no way he could have gotten rid of even all that DNA. He never even sold the car. That's one big thing that a lot of people do when they're guilty. If they commit a crime, whatever they did it in, like their house, their car, work, or whatever, they get rid of it after. They quit their job after. They'll move or they'll sell their car, which is something that happened here in a Texas case with Stacey Stites. Her life had ended and they blamed somebody else. But right after her life ended in a vehicle that was so important, the fiance sold it, got rid of it. It's evidence to show what happened to your fiance that day, the woman that you love, and you just get rid of it? No. No, 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 no. That just does not make sense to me whatsoever. So, okay. I have to say that, again, the defense did a really good job and poked a lot of holes in the state's theory. And I have to say, too, they did this for free. The defense did everything for free, all pro bono. And they did a fantastic job. You can tell that they did a lot of work here, and especially poking the holes in the defense, in the prosecution's case. Seriously, I mean, once it's all presented in court, it make any sense. I mean, really? Excuse me. So that's just what made me feel that the police just molded something to fit their narrative and get somebody in jail, and that way they could lock up this crime. And poor Richard Allen is the one that was picked. Now, whether that's the truth, I don't know. So I just want to say this one thing before we move into another part of this video. If Richard Allen is convicted, I will be outraged. Not because I believe he's innocent, but because of the evidence presented was weak, almost non-existent. And in this country, we are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And that standard was not met in this trial. And if me or you, we were in this place, I would expect the state to bring more than scraps of circumstantial evidence. The prosecution failed to prove its case, and Richard Allen, in my opinion, should be released. I'm not claiming that he's innocent. I mean, he could be guilty, but I am saying that the burden of proof was not met. And a conviction would definitely signal deep corruption in our justice system, and that can't go unchallenged. Now, let's go back very quickly and let's talk about the evidence. And let's see if there's any questions that you guys had whatsoever. And then we can start ending the live stream, but we will like a little later. So, okay. The evidence against Richard Allen. Okay. So let's go through that one more time, because I know that is what everybody usually likes to know. What's the evidence? What do they have against this man? Okay. Richard made 61 alleged confessions. The police found one spent bullet at the crime scene between Abby and Libby's bodies that allegedly matched a gun that was owned by Richard. And Richard, at one point, after the police pulled him in and they were questioning him, he was like, look, I don't care what you tell me or what you think I did not do it. I did not murder them, and I'm not going to confess. And that is when, after they locked him away in that prison in solitary, no, not a county jail. They put him in prison solitary. Okay. So after that is when he starts confessing. And so they ask him details like, how did you do it? He's like, well, I had that gun and I used that gun to get them down the hill. Okay. What else? How did you murder them? And so I guess Richard was talking about how it was just going to start as an SA crime. And that was originally what he was going to do. But then he saw a white van drive by and assumed that he would be caught. So that's when he decided to end the futures of Abby and Libby so he wouldn't get caught, which doesn't make sense. Okay, so anyway, because of Richard saying that, the police were able to find a man nearby who owned a white van. So they were able to say, oh, okay, well, his confession must be real then, because there is somebody really out here, a neighbor who owns a white van. Okay, so they have that piece of information to take to trial. Witness statements, the gun, the confessions, and the white van. They've got a lot. They think they are good to go. But then the evidence starts getting broken down by like actual intelligent people, because Richard's DNA, again, was not found anywhere. Not on the bullet, not on the girls. I mean, guys, this was a gruesome crime scene. It was really bad. Those beautiful angels had their throats hurt. I don't, in case anybody has their kids watching, or in case, YouTube gets a little anal, I'm just going to say their throats were hurt. And they were hurt, especially Libbys, about a good 4 to 5 times. So it was like they tried and tried and tried, to hurt her. And she was just, so strong. And so was Abby. Abby was, it seemed like she was fighting. So here's where we are with this so-called evidence. Again, it with the hair pulled out, with the girls, their clothes being changed, it just doesn't make sense that one person could do that, in my opinion. Okay. When I was 13, 14 years old, I mean, yeah, I was very shy. I came from a small town, but I knew what to do in case anybody ever wanted to try to kidnap me. And I know these young girls were obviously smart, logical girls. If one man tried to take both of them, one of them would have ran, or I know some people are probably thinking, well, she probably never would have left her friend, one or the other, probably would have never left her friend. So that's why one didn't run. But that just doesn't make sense to me either, because it's not like Libby sat there and watched this person hurt her best friend and then waited for him to come over and hurt her. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't honestly make sense to me that one person did this, especially with the clothes changing. I mean, that just doesn't make sense whatsoever. But again, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But again, his DNA was not found anywhere in that bloody crime scene. And it's like a perfect murder with the movie Sandra Bullock. Has anybody ever seen that movie? I know they showed us that it's possible that you can murder somebody without leaving any kind of evidence behind, but that wasn't a time before CCTV cameras and where ring cameras, people film and everything, people have a large social media footprint. So I think A Perfect Murder was made like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So there's no way now, I think, to get away with the perfect crime. I mean, no, just the bullet, no DNA with the bullet, no DNA everywhere. And then they were able to poke holes in the witnesses. The witnesses, none of them could identify Richard Allen as Bridge Guy. We had at least 5 witnesses, guys, 5 witnesses that were on the trail that day that testified they saw Bridge Guy. They all gave descriptions, they all gave times, everything. But they could not point to Richard and say, hey, that's Bridge Guy. That's very powerful, in my opinion. If nobody could point him out, that's massive. So again, the witness statements were really torn apart, and the prosecution really wasn't sure of the timeline. They just kind of guessed by Libby's phone, which I guess Abby didn't have a phone at that time. But most information they got was from Libby's phone. And I do have that in the breakdown of the video that I'm going to post this weekend for you guys. So definitely look for that. I've got the whole breakdown for you, even the stuff that was shown in the trial. So that is the timeline that they stuck to, was through the event of the phone, the search, and the discovery. So they don't know exactly when the girls passed away, when their futures were ended by somebody. So they're taking a guess that it happened right almost after that video was taking a Bridge Guy. But they're, again, assuming there was nothing to really indicate that was when they passed away. So again, broken timelines. Witnesses couldn't even point Richard Allen out as Bridge Guy. No DNA whatsoever. The forensics for the cartridge from the gun was proven that it could have came honestly from anybody's. It wasn't. It could have come from another gun, and that it wasn't necessarily matched to Allen's gun. So, I mean, again, the defense did a great job in putting down what the prosecution put up. As far as the confessions, again, this poor man was stuck in prison solitary, not county jail solitary, prison solitary, with some of the worst people. And because of that, his psyche obviously went down into a horrible, degrading level. And I can certainly understand that. So his 61 confessions that happened after he went to prison solitary and not county jail for holding, I can totally. And also I've heard video of Richard Allen when the police were talking to him after they did the search of his house and they brought him in for questioning, and he was like, look, this is not me. I did not kill these two girls. I did not do it. You can't make me confess, and there's nothing that you can say that will make me say that I did it. And I mean, he was just so sure of himself. And now I know what a lot of you are thinking. Mary, if you heard his voice, did he sound like Bridge Guy? Okay. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. His voice did sound a lot like Bridge Guy, okay? I need to go back and, like, really hear it, so I'm giving you my opinion based on something that I remember. I think what we should do, what I'm gonna do in actually one of my videos is I'll show Richard Allen speaking, and then I'll show the Bridge Guy video, and you guys can make your own decision. Now, again, I'm not saying that Richard Allen is 100% innocent. I just feel that the state did not meet its burden of proof and that he should go free because of that. If they had had harder evidence where they could have kept him in jail and prosecuted him, great. But they should have went for something harder, and they didn't have it. They just went for what they had, and it wasn't good enough. And besides, Richard Allen is like in his 40s. He committed no crime before and allegedly no crime after in the past 5 years. If this man did a horrible, gruesome crime scene of two girls, never sold his car, never moved, never changed jobs, never did anything drastic. It's just like he literally lived a life as if it had never happened. It was just one moment in his life where he snapped and went right back to regular life. Do you know how often that actually happens? Alexa, how often do people go into psychosis and murder people and then go right back to normal as if it never happened?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Never mind. She didn't really help me right now. So, okay. It's not very many. It's not very many. Yes, there's temporary insanity. Absolutely. 100%. But it's extremely rare for somebody who has slaughtered two beautiful, innocent young girls to have just that been his only crime and his only perfect crime. That doesn't make sense. It's his only perfect. It's his only crime, and it's absolutely perfect. No, this person has obviously done this before. I mean, and the fact that all the hairs that were found in Abby's hand, we're going to definitely talk about that in another video. But for me, the state did not meet its burden of proof, and I'm really hoping that they find him not guilty. Now, does that mean that the state can actually try him again? I don't think so. I mean, that's double jeopardy. So this was like their one and only shot if Richard Allen is Bridge Guy. And again, yeah, I'm not going to lie. His voice did definitely sound a lot like Bridge Guy. I mean, maybe not 100%. And it's been a little while since I've heard Richard Allen's voice, but I do remember when I heard his voice thinking, yeah, he definitely does sound a little bit like Bridge Guy. And that just kind of stuck in my head. I just never really got a chance to go back and look. But they should have came with something more powerful. They should have had more evidence, and they didn't. And if Richard Allen is Bridge Guy, he's not convicted, he will get away with it. That, I think, is the scariest thing. But I just don't think this guy did it. I mean, no history of it. No history after. Did nothing to hide from the crime. Even went to the police days after, told them what he was wearing, when he was there, showed them records and phones. I mean, gave information to them. I know some killers do that because they think they won't be caught. But all he would have had to done was just not say anything and just said, like Kelsey, oh, I forgot. Do you know how many times Kelsey German has forgot important details? Forgot, or she just doesn't remember. That's all Richard Allen would have had to claim. Oh, it happened so long ago. I don't remember exact dates. I just honestly forgot. How is it that Kelsey can get away with saying every time, like Anthony Shots? Police were asking who had spoken with Anthony Shots, and reporters asked her, Have you ever spoken to Anthony Schatz? And Kelsey said, oh, I wish. I wish. And then it came out many years later that she did have contact with Anthony Schatz. So, I mean, like I said, there's evidence against her, more against her sister than there is Richard Allen. And I don't know if her sister did it. I'm not saying she did. I'm just saying there's more evidence against her sister, Kelsey, than there is against Richard Allen. Kelsey's DNA is everywhere. In Abby's hands. In her hands. Not just a few small spare strands. A clump from bloodied roots that had been ripped out of her hair. In Abby's hand. And they didn't do anything about that. As far as I know, Kelsey did not testify. And she did not answer why her hairs were in Abby's hand. I think she tried to say that the girls were wearing her jacket. And that's why her hair was found on the girls. But again, guys, I know I said this before. Cookie and I shed like mofos. I mean, if I just do this to my hair right now, I've got hair shedding out. Multiple. I am a shedder. When I take this shirt off, there's going to be at least 6 or 7 hairs on this shirt. 6 or 7. Not a clump, and certainly not bloodied from the roots. No, maybe some that have broken or that just, managed. Oh my God. Yeah. See, I know you guys can't see it, but I got at least a good 3 right here. But yeah, it always happened. She was the last one to see them. Her hair was everywhere. Her DNA was everywhere. And Liberty's family's DNA was everywhere. Yet Richard Allen is the one going to trial for this. Our American justice system really needs to be taken back. It really needs to be taken back, stepped aside, because I can even look over here at my bed and I see my hair. Not a clump. If I was to do this and yank, sure, there's going to be a clump. But there's not, there's a few hairs in my hand. If Abby was wearing Kelsey's jacket, she would have, yes, probably a hair or 2 maybe in her fingers. Absolutely. Not 70, not 72. So I just wanted to say, again, there's more evidence against Kelsey than there is against Richard Allen, and he is the one on trial. But again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying she's guilty. Not at all. This is her older sister. This is somebody who loved her, her family. Definitely not accusing her. I'm just making a statement that there's so much against her, so little against him, but yet he's the one going to trial. It doesn't make sense to me. Make the math. Okay, so let me see if there was anything else that I wanted. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the live chat and I will absolutely let you know. So let me let you guys know very quickly the background, because I see right here that my darling Blaze is asking if this happened in Richard's house, and it did not. This happened in Delphi, Indiana, and this happened on walking trails, which I know a lot of people aren't very familiar with the case, but I am making a video right now currently about the actual case, the findings and everything. So I will absolutely be able to let you know, Blaze, about what happened. But let me give you just a small little background. Libby and Abby, they were best friends in Delphi, Indiana. On February 13th, 2007, they were taking a hike along Delphi's historic trails. And it's near the Monon High Bridge. I want to say Monon, but it's Monon. The Monon High Bridge. And it was a very popular spot. A lot of people went there to walk the trails. And so it was always busy. A very popular place for locals. And the girls had half a day off from school. They got it about like 1 o'clock. So the girls got together and decided to go walk the bridge and go walk out there and take some photos. And so that's what they did. There's Libby's sister, Kelsey, dropped them off at the trails, and Libby had her phone with her. So supposedly the girls the girls did not return from their hike when Libby's dad came to pick them up, and they were reported missing by family members that same evening. And their bodies were discovered the next day, February 14th, 2017, in a wooded area not far from the bridge. And they were not alive, sadly. And so basically, it's been 5 years that the police have been looking for this person who murdered these 2 innocent young girls. On Libby's phone, she took a video of somebody that was approaching them at the end of the bridge. I guess maybe she just had that instinct, like, hey, this guy's coming up on me. I'm going to record his ass. And he said something to them like, guys, down the hill. And I have exactly what was said in my notes. I don't have it in front of me, though, of what was said in that whole video. It was like a 42-second video. And in court, it actually came out what was on the whole thing. So, but based on that's that video that Libby posted to her social media about Bridge Guy, because I guess she just posted it right afterwards. I don't know why why wouldn't she just call 911 instead of posting the video? I mean, if she had a bad feeling and started recording this guy, he's like, guys down the hill, why did she take the time to upload the video? Why didn't she just call 911? So I don't know. There's still so many questions. Maybe they were shocked. I have no idea. But allegedly, yeah, they went down the hill and then were taken across a river. And then sadly, their lives had come to an end. And again, police had been searching for 5 years trying to find who did it, which led them to Richard Allen. However, it's not so easy as they think. So, yeah. Blaze says, so they think Bridge Guy is Richard with what proof? Like, hello, what? Usually with minors, and murder are for essay. Yeah, absolutely. And besides, if Richard said that it was the white van that spooked him, and that's what made him move the girls and decide to murder them or end their lives. I'm sorry. He had already been seen. Why didn't he just let him go? Why didn't he just say, oh, haha, this was just one huge prank. I have my friend. My friend is out there with a recorder. Haha. Yeah, I got you. I'm going to leave. Deuces. And, then that would have been so much less. I don't understand. Like, yeah, the prosecution just did not make very much sense about motive, intentions, and what allegedly happened. So, and there was no SA. They tried to say that just because there wasn't any doesn't mean it didn't happen, so to speak. So just because they were not taken advantage of in that way doesn't mean it didn't happen. And that's bull. They're trying to make more charges at this point. The girls were not SA'd. They had their futures ended by injuries to the throat. And that's 100%. And the prosecution's trying to say, oh, that was his motive. He was going to SA them. But then when he saw that, he says he saw that white van and then decided, oh, no, this isn't going to work. So I need to end their lives instead. No, that doesn't make sense. You're talking about a person who is about to create a perfect murder. A perfect murder. Don't you think he would have done just that? Like, saw the white van and know, oh, fuck, I'm caught. Hey, this was a joke. This is just a water gun. This is just a joke. My friend's over there recording. Okay, gotta go, girls. Take it easy. And then just run the fuck off. Instead, he's like, oh, look, I've been caught. I better end their futures. Okay. I just, like I said, the logical thinking from the prosecution at this point just doesn't math. Blaze said, why would he go all the trouble to change their clothes, and why would he take out some of his hair? It doesn't make sense. Like, hello, what? And I would be like, okay, and well, they also said that he committed this crime and then left the bullet there as his calling card, as like a way to taunt the police that he did this. This man has just committed the perfect crime and he's going to leave behind evidence? No. Matt, it is so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate it. They always suspect the guy first. Usually they do, sadly. Okay, so that is basically going to be the end of this live stream. I do want to live stream again tomorrow night. Let's find out if the jury is still deliberating. Let's find out what's going on. And obviously, I should have my Delphi video done for you guys. So I'm excited to put that one up for you and my yellow jackets. By the way, if you guys are in the chat or you come back and watch this later, who do you think is the antler queen? I mean, I know that's coming out of total left field in a Delphi breaking news and live discussion video, but who do you think is the antler queen? I know, Blaze, you have a suspect, and I want to know who it is. But that's coming, and again, probably live streaming until we get a result. I can't wait until I hear this guy is not guilty. And then when I hear he's not guilty, I'm going to think, oh my God, dude, if this guy was actually guilty, if he really is Bridge Guy, he just got away with it. He just got away with it, and the state wasted their one and only opportunity to get him. So again, you guys are so much the best. I really appreciate you very much. I know it was really just a very small cluster of us tonight, and that's fine. I don't definitely need like a big audience. I really like it when it's just personal like this with us. So I really appreciate that. Okay, so again, I'll be back tomorrow night. We're going to talk about the jury still deliberating. We're going to go over some more facts. I'll answer any questions that you guys have, and I'll give you some more results on the poll that I ran on X, asking people, and on YouTube, asking people if they think Richard Allen is guilty or innocent now that the trial is over. So let me know what you think again in the comments and everything. I really appreciate everybody being here and watching this live stream. Again, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and beware of our girl. You know who she is. Sexy Scatfitch.